Hey everyone, so in this video I'm going to be putting together a Mini ITX build in the NZXT H1, which is a really popular case right now and I'm pretty sure it's sold out everywhere, so I'm really glad to have been able to get my hands on one for this video. But I've also managed to get my hands on one of these, the new B550I Aorus Pro AX motherboard. But before I open that, it's time to get rid of this Windows 10 watermark, thanks to this video sponsor SCDkey. If you use the link in the description down below and enter the discount code TPC at checkout, you'll save yourself an additional 15% off an OEM Windows 10 key. The key is delivered immediately and then you can just search for Activate on your PC and input the code there. And the watermark is gone. Now back to the video. Getting this motherboard in for a video is really exciting because firstly, it's not actually been released yet, at least like right now while I'm filming, and it's been a good while since I was able to get something in pre-embargo, but it's also exciting because it's been years since I worked with the Mini ITX form factor, and it's about time I started getting some cute but powerful systems built on the channel. So this is using AMD's new B550 chipset, which is the new mainstream chipset and will come in at a lower price point than the X570 Enthusiast chipset. The main difference here is that B550 only has a PCIe 3.0 4X link between the CPU and the chipset, which means that B550 boards will have reduced connectivity options in comparison to their X570 counterparts. However, given that Mini ITX boards do have reduced connectivity anyway, just due to the size constraints of the form factor, I do think that this B550 board has an extremely compelling feature set and that you'd be hard pushed to find many reasons to pick up the X570 version instead. The lack of a chipset fan for one is a huge improvement, as passive cooling was something only found on the most premium and expensive of X570 motherboards. Interestingly though, you can tell that Gigabyte have used the same base PCB design for this board as they do for their X570 version, because it still has the little chipset fan header. But they have included an adapter so that you can use this as a normal 4-pin case fan header instead, which is really good because fan headers are often in short supply on Mini ITX boards. Like, even with this adapter, you only have a total of 3 headers, including the CPU coolers one. You can always use splitters though, of course, if needed. So underneath this heatsink is the board's primary M.2 slot, which is wired directly to the CPU. This is capable of PCIe 4.0 4X speeds, which is the biggest improvement over the B450 boards that this generation replaces. The PCIe 16X slot is also PCIe 4.0 capable. At the rear of the board we have the secondary M.2 slot, and this is connected to the chipset, meaning that it can only achieve PCIe 3.0 4X speeds. I think though that for the vast majority of people, a single PCIe 4.0 M.2 slot will be just fine, and then you can always add an additional slower, but still way faster than SATA storage drive back here if you need additional capacity. For a small board, the rear I/O is pretty decent, with the rear I/O panel having 2 USB 3.2 Gen 2 ports and 4 USB 3.2 Gen 1 ports. Internally, there's a chunky USB 3.2 Gen 1 header and a USB 3.0 port header. We also have a Realtek 2.5GB Ethernet port, which is great to see. The 8-phase VRM design does look very solid, at least on paper, but you need to check out some deep dive and comparative reviews to see how it stacks up against the other options. As far as I'm aware, Aorus' reputation for power design and cooling has been very good in recent years, so I'd expect for this to be the same. Everything else on this board looks great. I really don't have anything to complain about, which strangely could actually be this board's biggest problem. Like, it's perhaps too high-end, and I know that sounds strange, but if you compare this B550i Aorus Pro AX to the B450i Aorus Pro Wi-Fi that it's supposed to be replacing, you'll see that they are just in different leagues. Like, I don't have pricing information yet, but I suspect that this won't be the budget-friendly board that we would hope it to be, which, it's fine. Like, high-end boards are cool, as long as Gigabyte still offers a budget-friendly Mini ITX board as well. Like, I don't want to see stock of the B450 boards disappear, and then the price point of entry to be able to make a small form factor AMD Mini ITX build to just go up. But yeah, it's time to move on because I've got to take a look at the case that will house this new board. So this is the NZXT H1, and it is a very interesting option if you're looking to build a Mini ITX system, because inside this box is pretty much half of the components that you'll need for your build. So you've got the case, obviously, but also a 140mm all-in-one CPU cooler, a 650W 80 plus gold fully modular SFX L power supply, and a PCIe riser cable. Price-wise, it's about what you'd expect to pay if you bought all of the 4 components separately and then added the prices together. I've gone for the white version, but a black version is also available. This white version sort of looks like what you'd get if the PS5 and Xbox Series X had a child, with its white and black colour theme and monolithic cube shape. But yeah, so it's quite tall for a Mini ITX case, but the footprint is tiny, so even if you already have a smallish mid-tower case, downsizing will give you back a lot of desk real estate. Taking apart the case is easy, the side panels just pop straight off, and then you can airlift the rest of the exterior away from the frame, as it's a single sheet of steel. This reveals the interior. You can't really see much though, because the H1 makes use of all of the available space, so it's best that we talk about the specifics as I put the system together. For this build, I'm going to borrow the Ryzen 5 3600X from my temporary gaming PC. For the past couple of months, this has been my primary gaming CPU, and I've actually been really impressed with it. For memory, the H1 is restricted to kits with a maximum height of 45mm, so I've gone with a 16GB 3200MHz kit of Aorus memory. Ideally, I'd have 32GB of memory, but all of my kits use 8GB DIMMs, so I need to get my hands on some high density kits at some point. For the SSD, I'm going to go over 1TB Corsair MP600. This is a PCIe 4.0 SSD, and I really had no choice but to use an ultra fast drive like this, because otherwise I wouldn't be taking advantage of B550's biggest feature. I have to say that the NZXT H1 is like nothing I've ever built in before, and therefore initially kind of confusing, but they've put lots of instructional stickers throughout to help you along. So removing these 2 screws here allows you to swing the radiator and fan out of the way, which gives you clear access to the motherboard area. Everything is well packaged inside with a dummy motherboard to keep the cooler and riser cable in place. First, I installed the motherboard, and then it was time to mount the cooler. I don't know the sales numbers, but it feels like AMD is way more popular than Intel right now, so maybe it's time that cooler manufacturers switch to pre-installing the AMD brackets rather than the Intel ones, as it would save more builders a step in construction. NZXT has already done a good job of cable managing everything where it needs to be, so I just went around and plugged in all the cables. I also took advantage of that little fan header adapter. One thing that is missing on the Aorus B550i Pro AX is the newer style USB-C internal header. That sucks, as the front I/O is very limited on the NZXT H1. A solution to this would be to provide some sort of pass-through cable so that I can plug this into a rear I/O USB-C port instead. With those all plugged in, it was time to close the radiator and fan mount, which completes the install for this side of the case. Removing this cover plate, you can see the modular power cables. There's 2 SATA power cables, as the case does have space for 2 2.5-inch SATA drives, but I won't be using those in this build. And you also have PCIe power cables, giving you 4 6+2 pin power connectors. For this build, I've gone with an RTX 2080 Ti, but long term I'm thinking of swapping in an RTX 2060 Super instead, because I'm thinking of keeping this build as a little semi-portable VR machine, and the Oculus Rift S isn't too difficult to drive, so a 2060 Super would probably be enough power. The GPU is next to a vented side panel, so it does have access to fresh air, but as the card exhausts back into this area, with at least some of the warm air hitting the glass panel rather than leaving immediately, I can already tell that temps will be warmer than you'd see in a larger build. But such is the trade-off you make when you cram so much power into such a tiny case. So that's the build finished. I actually really like the NZXT H1. There's just something about there being so little empty space, especially around the motherboard and CPU, that's just really cool to see. Honestly, the more I look at it, the more I like it. And there's also something about this case that just sparks off my imagination for different mods that I could do with it. But because it is such a popular case, pretty much all of those mods have already been done by someone, so. One thing that is worth mentioning is that if you are the type of person that's always plugging in and out cables, you will probably find the rear I/O placement quite annoying. The flip side to that, however, is that this design works great if you want a really clean, minimalistic desk setup. So I've only had a few hours with this build, so I can't include detailed temperature and noise testing, but I will say that so far I've been really impressed with it. I would like to see NZXT offer a version that has another vented panel rather than the tempered glass panel though. because you can't actually see all that much through the glass anyway, so, you know. I'm hoping to revisit this build in a future video with some longer term impressions, so please let me know if you have any questions that you'd like answered in that video. Also, since I started making this video, I've been informed that the Aorus B550I Pro AX motherboard is going to have an MSRP of £185, which places it £45 cheaper than the X570 version. I can see most people saving the money and going the B550 route, perhaps even using that £45 to pay the difference between a PCI 3.0 and a PCI 4.0 SSD. But yeah, so let me know what you think of the board and the new B550 chipset in the comments down below. If you like this video, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already and you want to see more of my videos. Thank you so much to my incredible patrons, and thank you for watching.